What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. I got two AirPods in my ear. Let's just reduce that to one as I set things up over here. All right. And welcome one and all to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself so you can get acquainted with the Camera Junkie crew right here in the chat. And if you like, make sure that I know your name so I can give you a shout out. And as tradition goes around here, first thing that I do is always go to check out the chat to see exactly who are the first Camera Junkie crew members in the chat. All right. And also let me know how I'm coming across, because I decided to sneakily switch my settings to the 1080-60. And everything was looking smooth as can be until I hit go live. And as soon as I hit go live, on my end, I'm seeing a bit of choppiness. So let me know if it's just me and how I'm coming across right now at 1080-60. All right. With that, right off the bat, we have Parker Jennings in the house saying hello to everyone. We also have Mr. Paul Duncan, Mr. Moderator, as always, hanging out, saying what's up to the fam. Looks like that's it right off the bat for this Saturday evening, but we're being very efficient with it. I'll be waiting on your responses to see how it looks and sounds. Actually, you know what? I'm going to test it out myself. Let's go ahead and come over here. Open up the tubes of UV. And let's see what the statistics are saying. Saying a little choppy, I see stream health. Saying excellent stream health, and I'm not getting any issues as far as bandwidth goes. But I'm seeing it, and so are you, so well, we'll work with it. This was part of last week's stream, which I wasn't able to do correctly, but we'll see, because everything on my computer should be top notch. I restarted the stream beforehand. CPU load is about halfway for the stream. And let me see what the memory is looking like. Yeah. We're at 23 gigs of memory being used. And basically 6 of it wired at the moment. So no extremes and no real reason why it should be as choppy as I feel it is, but we march on. All right. Today's topic at hand is the Aputure B7c Lite, or basically the journey that I've gone through to try to incorporate my setup and have an appropriate fill light right here is basically the goal. Now I'm going to show you my first light modifier, right? Modification, so to speak. Some of you might remember this, because before this was what I was using here. So if you don't know, what I did was I replaced all the lights throughout my entire setup with these Amazon lights, and because I purchased them together all at the same time from the same location, they all matched. But what I had to do was basically create this softbox here out of foam core, and I had it set up right here, which I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to that shot. Let's see. No, that's the overhead right here. And what it did is it blocked off my secondary screen. that here. So this is my secondary screen, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just for demonstration, actually just to clarify, these are magnets that I put here, and my entire frame is metal. So I designed it so that I can just magnetize it, but as you can see, it takes up a whole lot of space. And if we were to go into this shot, I had to change the lens, because if not, it would encroach on it, as you can see it right there. So this was my first version of lighting into this area, but it wasn't bright enough. It was very, very dim. And to give you an example, if I were to shut off this light real quick. Oh, I shouldn't have done it that way, but I digress. We'll see how dark it gets in here. And let me go ahead and turn that back on. Ooh, that's a bit hot. Okay, as you can see, that's the fill light, but I wanted something brighter than I was getting out of like the standard bulb that I would use for the Amazon. So what I ended up doing was purchasing this guy right here. This is the Ulanzi LT028 wireless, because it's got a battery, so it's a wireless, but it is a 40-watt cob bicolor LED. So even at 1%, which I have it right now, you see how bright is doing. And let me know, can you guys hear this noise? I don't think it's coming through right now, but when you first started out, it always makes a noise for me, but I digress. As you can see, it is extremely bright, and I have it all the way down to 1%. So this was definitely overkill for this small area that I'm talking about here, right? So this small area, this light was way too bright. As you can see, oh, way too bright even at 1%. So the desire was to actually have a small fill light, because this also comes with a bit of a diffuser, right? This little silicone cover, and it's got these little perforations around the side, is because the fan is actually blowing through the opening for the light itself. So if you were to cover it, it will just stop the airflow. So it needed these small little vents to make sure that there's still ventilation and that the fan is working correctly. But this is the diffusion that comes with it. And I even purchased a small softbox for the Podfest that I was able to utilize this light with. So there was a couple of different options. The softbox kind of doesn't fit here because of the space and the space constraints, but the 40-watt, it even being like one of the, what is it, I guess the less wattage or the less powerful lights that you could find on the market for video, it was still too powerful for the situation here. So I had to turn it around and have the soft box or the soft diffusion actually hitting the wall, right? So let me go ahead and show it. I basically had it pointed in this direction so that it would then bounce off of what I have here is a canvas, something that you would find at a paint store. So it's just basically true white canvas, and I just hung it there on the wall and have that be the reflection to bounce off the light. So now that effectively becomes my light. And I was using this Ulanzi for, you know, I think for the majority of this year already, and it's working out and it's really good. But just during the Christmas or the holiday season, Christmas season, I was hanging out in a live stream with Brandon Washington, and I had mentioned this before, and because of being part of his creative fam and community, I was selected to win this Aputure B7c light. I always forget the acronym for it. So I actually just happened to come across it, and because it was a gift, it wasn't part of my kind of setup, and I thought that I was pretty much set. Now this light is a full RGB light as well, so just to give you a quick demonstration, I can make it go completely like any RGB color, right? As we can see that we're dealing with here. But the crazy thing is that this is basically a dedicated video light. Go ahead and click that again to where I had it. There we go. It's a dedicated video light. So what's the difference in that? The difference is that it won't flicker when it comes to using it for video. Now, the majority of my other Amazon lights, they have to be at 100% saturation, and you can't really like increase or decrease that, or basically they have to be at 100%, so you can't decrease it from that. It immediately will bring flicker into your image, and it will just be distracting and just doesn't look good overall. So for that reason, I knew that, and I knew that the way to use them was at 100%. But like utilizing it through the whole system, they're not dedicated video lights, which really makes a difference. Now this Ulanzi is a dedicated video light, right? For that reason, it carries that same capability or same capability of it not flickering within your shot. It's designed to be at a high enough range of hertz that you will never see that coming across shooting at either 24, 30, 60, or even 120 frames per second. It's designed for that, but it also has its own limitations, being a bicolor light and a variety of different things. So that's where we come in with this light. And when I first got it and having the capabilities of it being multicolored, I wasn't really thinking of first using it as my fill light. Even though it has that capability, I started trying it out in different locations to see if I wanted to put it on, and I started to realize how much brighter it was compared to my other Amazon lights. Obviously, right? This is a dedicated video light, so it was just hit my brain that I was thinking of how to utilize this when the only location that I had, or basically the only socket that I had available, was coming off of this old light that I had created. So I took the connector, basically the deconstructed lamp, off of the back and connected the light and started messing around with it. And that's when I started recognizing its properties. Now, I was able to download this thing called the Sidus Link app, which is how you control Aputure lights. And what really impressed me about this light more than anything is that it has the green/magenta shift, right? And not a lot of people would even recognize this, but it's why I mentioned before that when I purchased all the lights, I purchased them all together from the same manufacturer, all in one shot, because you don't want a variation in the light. Like if I were to try to look for the lights that I have in my setup right now, I would probably find the same manufacturer, but because technology increases and then their production style changes, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get the same type of light that I purchased like 2 or 3 years ago from them, even though they're the same manufacturer. They just have a different process now that make lights different. So I'm not expecting that, and for that reason it's hard for you to bring in another light into your like setup and make it just fill in correctly. Now, all of the Amazon lights that I have in my setup, I know have a shift towards the green. And for this reason, I've set my white balance to shift towards the magenta. What I was mentioning before and really impressed me about this light from the Sidus Link app, I have that shift variation. So I was able to shift it towards the green so that it could match exactly how the rest of my lights are. Plus, once again, no flicker, and it has a standard, like light bulb socket. So this thing is very interesting because you can kind of take it anywhere now. Like I was just thinking like, man, I could just take that, throw that in the bag, and if I'm in a hotel room, I can just quickly replace the bulb that they have in the lamp nearby, throw this on there, have wireless control, and also once again a correct video light, so I don't have to worry about flicker rate. I'm like, this is like a win-win. So what I did to basically show you guys, I'm gonna go once again, I'm gonna turn off the light so that you can see. What is this? Okay, let's move that. That's in the way. Okay, so basically I just have a magic arm directly from the bottom of my my cage frame here, and I have a deconstructed lamp, basically just the cable and the, what is it, the super clamp they're called, from the magic arm or the articulating arm, and I just have it pointed in the direction that I wanted. I first pointed at myself and quickly realized that the light is too powerful and it just casts like a harsh light, which is not what you want. And here you can see a little bit better how I just have the canvas set up against the wall. Now I have a neutral gray, which is also great for casting light, and I have those same Amazon lights behind my television, so I can turn those off so you can see like the glow that it's casting. And then at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this the aperture light, and you can see once again, if I were to have directed that towards me, it was gonna be too harsh. So I was able to just take this arm, super clamp it, and just direct it towards that where it's not in like my direct line of sight, so that when I come over to my main shot, it becomes the fill. That's the difference. Like that's how much light, as you can see, like the light coming from my 45 over here casts this shadow right here from my beard onto my chest, makes that all disappear. So that's basically the history of me going through the variety of different steps of trying to fill this in. And I think this might be the most permanent because it is the smallest out of all of my setups. Like just the bulb with a cable is even smaller than this Ulanzi LT28. It just is. And now I have full view of my monitors here, and it could just basically live there, and I don't think I will be moving it at all. So testing it out right now on the live stream, I'm going to see exactly how it looks compared to the other lights. I feel it looks good. I'm going to have to see how the video looks because it still looks like we're a bit choppy today. But now I'm going to go ahead and check back in the chat to see what you guys think. I'm really impressed. I was just speaking to someone, Alicia, about this, and she was like, oh, which light is that? And I go, this aperture light that I got. And when I mentioned it, she's like, oh, I have two of them. And I'm like, well, just know that they're not just for practicals, that you could use them as your main or your like key light, depending on how you set it up, because at the end of the day, it's a dedicated video light. And that's the most important thing, that you're going to get a nice high quality light, or, you know, light from the bulb that you're using. So really impressed. She was like, oh, I have them in the lamps behind me because that's also a added feature to it. And I think it was kind of like the main reason why Aputure made these bulbs. It was because, like, for instance, a lamp or something like that we have in the background right there, that's probably gonna have like ooh, how could I say it? You know what, can I change them up? Yeah, I'm gonna change them up. To give you an example, they usually have a tungsten type of coloring. So I'm gonna grab all my lights, and all at once I threw them all towards the warm light. As you can see, I look extremely orange. right? It goes to show you, but that's how like how they all match. And at that same time, if we were to switch to this light, we can see how over here the rest of me looks orange, but this, because we didn't change that color of light, stays the same. So now if we go to cool white, boom, now we're back to norm and everything's matching, because this cool white is the one that actually has all of that magenta cast. All right, so let me see about these lights. Go to my backlight over here. My side light. I think we're back to normal. I think that's the only difference that I do, to add some coloration. Boom. All right, so let me get something to drink and check the comments. Oh, actually, that's a bit bright. There we go. Too much key from right here. All right. All right, we have Sammy saying what's up. Scott referencing that it was definitely choppy. Hopefully it's looking a little bit better. But we're going to go with it, because if it is choppy, I have definitely more than adequate internet speed. So if it is and it doesn't look good, then you know that kind of settles it for me. 4K 30 over 1080 60. Okay, Jeremy's in the house saying what's up. Let's switch this song up too. DJ MCJ. All right. Hope everyone is doing great. How you doing, JP? See, Rainy Cajun says, hue lights are notorious for flicker. Yes. The Philips hues, they flicker even at 100%. Like these, I got lucky. I tested them out first, right? I bought a pair, and that's what quickly let me realize that they were going to flicker unless they were at 100%. But the kind of like good side to the negative was that they weren't too bright to begin with. So for instance, my softbox here, I have 4 of those lights inside of that. So when I said that it was like too much key light, is because all of them were on at 100%. So I'll bring that back on. And to show you what I see, right? This little like triangle here in my forehead that's like blown out. It looks completely white and it's too shiny. That's what I want to remove. So I have 4 bulbs in there, which represents 100% of the light. But because I can't adjust the light in variants, even like quarter, 50, right? I did something else, which is I put a socket with a 4 bulb adapter, and then I put 4 of the bulbs inside of it. Now that they're inside, I'm able to control each one individually at 100%, so it avoids the flicker, but I also have some type of gradual control, because if I were to turn them all off, right, let me go ahead and do that, right, you know, you see there's no light, but 25% of the 4 light array is just one light at 100%. So if I were to just kick one on, it's at 100%. We have some light, and then I'll kick on the second one, and that's good enough, right? If I do a third, I start getting that bit of shine, and with all 4 of them, we definitely have the blowing out of my forehead right there. So let's turn 2 of these bad boys off, and that's enough light to come from that direction for me. So little like tip of how I've set it up, but that gives you an idea of what I'm looking for at the same time. That's why if I were to take this light here and if I were to flip it around, let me see. and have it pointing at me is the same light, but as you can see, this looks horrendous. Like, you can do a puppet show with my shadow in the background. So would not recommend. Something as simple as knowing that you could bounce light off of, you know, walls, off of ceilings and things like that to diffuse the light, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a softness, you're trying to eliminate shadows, and at that same time create kind of like a glow, but you want to control it at the same time. And the way to do that is to create the biggest light source so that it's nice and soft. So for example, this harsh light that comes from this light, by simply just pointing it towards the ceiling, it's gonna brighten up the entire room and it's gonna soften it up, because now the entirety of my ceiling becomes like the softbox, becomes the diffusion material, because we're bouncing the light from the source to the ceiling and then let it like just drip down, and it tends to look very good, especially for photography. All right. This looks great and it's not blinding you either. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, having it face the other way, even at its lowest like setting, kind of, it gets to you just a bit, right? And you can work with it, right? If you've ever done any like performances on stage, it's similar to like a spotlight where you just have to look past it, almost like oncoming headlights, and you can work with it, but it's not preferred, right? So having it bounce off as well also helps keep that like direct light or the sharpness of it to affect your sight. Sammy says super cool. Says I want to invest in a complete nanlight setup, but my wife won't let me. Sell the kids. I didn't read that last part. It says my wife won't let me sell the kids. But no, I would recommend it, because if it's anything, like even going into it, right, thinking about it correctly, like I did, with making sure that all of the lights that I had in my setup were like together, matching and everything like that. I've had them for 3 years, so I can upgrade, but it's really not necessary. So for example, now that I have this Aputure light here, right, I now have this Ulanzi light, and it would be cool to maybe replace that light, right, with this one, because once again, dedicated video light comparative to the ones from Amazon. Why I won't do it is because I have wireless capability of turning all the lights on and off through my phone. And that's one of the negatives of this little guy, is that it is completely old school. It is analog, right? So you have a dimmer switch here, you have some settings. So once again, if I were to turn it on, just to give you an idea, you can click into it and you have different things like candle, right? Switch faulty bulb, right? Strobe light. So there are different options, but it's basically that, and then just your bi-color control, going from, you know, like, what is that, 25K, so super warm, to 65K, fairly cool. Good light. I have a lot of things that I can do with it, but I think it's just going to be more of a mobile kit because of this light and getting, you know, the opportunity to utilize it in this way. It is the smallest, most compact, dedicated video light that I've been able to fit in my setup right here. So really impressed with it. And I think I might even I might move it to a ball head comparative to the Magic Arm, just to make it even that much more compact. And then I'll probably have full access movement of my LCDs, and the rest is history. Sammy says, I picked up the 12mm cine lens from 7 Artisans and I really like it so far. I'm glad. We were talking about it last week, right? I believe here on the channel. This my OCD. We were talking about that, right? I believe here last week, and then I actually saw that you had picked it up, and I saw that you made a video because I saw the video. So congratulations on your new lens, and let me know what you think about it. It definitely has a vintage look to it, right? It's got like this nice vintage look. It's just like a softness to it. Here's a good example. This lens is pretty soft right here. So this is a nice soft lens, and this is something that I would say looks equivalent to what you were getting off of that, or from what I saw in your video. So congratulations on the new lens, and I can't wait to see your, you know, like more, I guess your thoughts in like 6 months after you've used it a bit more. Hey K-Wall, how you doing? She says, thanks for taking the time to break down your lighting. It was eyeing a cold bore February light today, or Feb light, maybe Cobb light at Best Buy. Cold bore is also a really good, you know, light. Dedicated video lights from dedicated video light companies are great. I know Doc Rock and Paul, Mr. Moderator, have those cold bore lights, and they actually love them. They're also small and compact. Do you find that Prince Aiden prefers the softer, cooler color lights? Yeah, the cooler ones, the ones that I use here. Like when it comes to the ones that I had demonstrated before, like going towards the tungsten type of color, you know, like that orange, you know, like 2500K, very warm. He tends to like be more awake, and it's harder for him to go to sleep. It's just easier for him to stay awake in that light. You see, Paul says it here. Says, I have the Cold Bore 60R and I really like it. Now, is that just a bicolor light, Paul? I'm asking, or is that full RGB? Let me know. Because I'm thinking I want another light similar to this, but maybe more like this, right? Like a dedicated video light, but that is also full color gamut with RGB lighting, so that I can be able to use it in whichever scenario that I want. So I guess Sammy's saying yes, that he's really liking his lens. K-Wall's got a question. Visiting my family this week, what recommendations do you have for travel light setup? I could honestly tell you, like, this is on my brain for travel light setup. So this bulb, because it's a bulb, you can put it into any lamp. So like if I was thinking that I'm going to like a hotel or anything like that, and you're just gonna create like quick content, instead of setting something up, you can literally put that, set it up to the light like through your phone app, and then have a soft light that is like made for video, comparative to the incandescents that are usually in hotel rooms, or if they have LEDs that might flicker, right? So there's a variety of different things. Another thing that's small and compact is this guy, and the crazy thing is that they're both battery powered, right? So let me make sure, because this guy's kind of hot. Oh, Aiden's pulling on me. Buddy, but just to show you, oh, that did not last long at all. But you saw that I had it outside. That is hot. Outside of the socket, and I lit up my face before it turned off. I bet I could turn it back on, but I'm gonna go ahead and just plug it in. This one also has a built-in battery. I don't know how long it lasts and at what percentage. I know this one lasts over an hour, or close to 2 hours, I believe. Yeah, I think it lasts 100. and 80 minutes at 100% power. So this has got a pretty good battery to it, so that might be useful in that aspect, because if you might need to detach from the wall, to have over an hour to be able to set up a light anywhere with the softbox, I would actually recommend this over this. Especially, I don't know how long this lasts. I know you'll get over an hour of runtime. And if you're at 100%, at 1%, like, or anything near that, lower, it goes well past it. Like, I think closer to the 3-hour range. So you'd be able to utilize this, I guess, and you see it's very small. So compact mobile setup, I would probably recommend that. But now the other thing about this Aputure light is that they're selling for $70. So to think about a dedicated wireless compatible reconnect like light like this for $70 is actually pretty cool in my eyes, seeming that this is about $100, but there's a lot of features, like I was telling you, the magenta shift and all these things that really makes this light just, I guess, a little extra saucy, right? Very interesting. But mobile setup, I would still probably recommend that one, just because it's, I think, designed more for mobile. Man, I'm congested right now. Sammy says it isn't a soft lens. At the beginning was from the 12mm, the rest was the old vintage lens, and that 28mm. Oh, okay, so you see, that's probably what I was seeing. Says the 12mm is a little for the dorm room when I was filming in that video. Okay, cool. Okay, so Paul did confirm that that is an RGB light. That's super cool. So I'm definitely going to be looking into those. And he's asking me, how's Aiden tonight? He's good. He's making a mess, because that's what he does whenever I go into live streaming. So the color of the 12mm is very punchy, even with S-Log 3. Nice. Okay, Rainy Cajun here is giving a recommendation as well. It says travel lights Zhiyun M20C with accessory pack. Looking at about $150. You know what? Let's check this out. Because Zhiyun, how do you... All right, so I copied that. You know what? Let's go to... All right. Let's paste this. Boop. Why didn't you do that? I'm guessing, yeah, I guess that's the combo pack right there. All right, so this is a 20-watt portable camera light, HSI and TLCI. So basically the color gamut, and they're saying 96 plus, which would be CRI. That's how I know it. It says temperatures from 25 to 1000 or 10,000 actually. Nine lighting effects, supports magnetic attraction app with USB. So wow. All right, let's take a look real quick. Okay, so it's a mesh or mesh networking, meaning you control multiple at the same time. Oh, that's pretty small. That's a lot of great examples that are showing. Got barn doors, but does it have a softbox? Doesn't look like it. This is an option. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link in the chat for you. But at the same time, I'm gonna go and give you the link for the other one as well, because you'd have to see your use case scenario more than anything. But I think this might be a softer light. Like the cone with this diffusion would still be a softer light to hit you, even if you were to bounce off the wall, than that one. And it's less expensive. It's got a coupon available as well, as you can see. 3,400 milliamp hour built-in battery. So go ahead and what did I do wrong there? All right, we're set up. Oh, I went black. Okay, anyways, let's go back here. Boop. Let's go see exactly where we're at. Kiwal says, I think Anthony Gallo from Content Creators always recommends these lights. Well, Zhiyun's got quite a variety of different lights that I've liked. They've been dabbling into the compact size for even their cobs. So they came out with a new one. Actually looks very nice. Gerald Dundon made a video about it, and it looks steampunk, if that makes any sense. Like it's got this retro vibe to it, and it's just a bulb, but it's like exposed heat sinks and stuff like that. So it looks pretty cool, and it's from Zhiyun, and it's also a very good light. Okay, Blasted Ocular Mirage still got me down. Gonna check out. Everyone be safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. All right. Oh, I said Mirage. It's migraine. The difference between lettering this small over here and seeing it bigger over there. Okay, hope you feel better, brother. We're just saying hello to everyone. I might need to get the Elgato teleprompter just to make things a little bit bigger. Just to make it a little bit bigger. How you doing, George? It says it does have a diffusion panel. So, well, both of the links are there, right? And you can check it out. I like the small compact size of it, but also, do you know how long the battery lasts? Because I believe you said, I think you have it. But Well, if you guys have any last questions or last comments, I'll tell you to go ahead and put those in. I didn't have time to set up a cities GA, but you know what? I'm gonna do that on the fly. I'm gonna go ahead and check that out while you guys let me know if you have any last questions. So we're just gonna do it at the same time. Last week we did Connor. Was that last week? Let's see who. I love this song. Paul. Just remember this song when I say you might be hearing it very soon. Oh, that's new. Oh, okay. YouTube changed a bit. I used to be able to look at my entire subscription list, but it looks like they're condensing it to like the most used top 100. So they're just giving you like the top 100, and then you have to hit all subscriptions to see all of your subscriptions, because apparently, yeah, there's just a new update or whatever, because I know I definitely have more than 100 YouTube channels. Okay, we can go with this. Right. This is someone or some persons in this channel, but it's more of a podcast that I listened to from someone that had been prior already on the cities GA. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, then we have that set up. Whoa. I don't know if that came through the audio. Okay. All right. And this week's cities GA, channels that I think you should go and watch. Oh, too many things open. There we go. 16 Stops. Now, what is 16 Stops? 16 Stops is a YouTube channel / podcast with these two guys, Josh and Brandon. They both have their own YouTube channels. Josh has been on Cities GA before. I'm not too sure about Brandon Tolbert, but he's also the other content creator, so you could also check out his channel as well. You might see him on Cities GA in the future. But these are two camera junkies, calling it as it is, two camera nerds talking about camera stuff, in like just having conversations about everything and anything in the camera niche world. So if you haven't checked them out before, both their channels, Josh Satin and Brandon Tolbert, you can go ahead and check them out. But you could also check out this week's Cities GA, which is 16 Stops, their YouTube podcast all about cameras. So that's this week's Cities GA channels that I think you should go and watch. Boom, and we've done it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and check back in the chat, see how you guys are doing, and we're gonna wrap things up. Oh, he says Alec reviewed it about the light. It says haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. So then we could also look at Alec's video. That would be Take One Tech, and check out his review of it to see his thoughts on it. All right, everyone. thank you as always. We've done it successful. This was episode 174. Yeah, 174. And if you're hearing this for the first time, just know that this is 174 consecutive episodes of the Camera Junkie live stream, week after week, without skipping a beat. So you can do it now. Mark it on your calendars. We're going to be doing it all over again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday night, right here on the Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So thank you as always for taking the time and hanging out here with me and making this the place where I'd rather be week in and week out. Checks any questions? Josh is awesome. So mellow. Yeah, well, I gotta link up with him one way or another. Super cool guy. But guys, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see all of your smiling faces as we do it all over again next week. Talk to you.